Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is me, Hassnain, and welcome back to another video. So in our today's video, we're going to discuss about nutrition in humans. This means the digestive system, how our body digests the food we eat and where does it goes. So let's start by understanding the 5 digestive functions our digestive system performs. So our digestive system performs 5 major digestive functions, starting with ingestion. So ingestion is very basic. In this process, the food and drink are taken into the body through our mouth. This is known as ingestion. Next process is digestion. Digestion is the breakdown of food into simple form, a simple absorbable form which our body can absorb easily. Absorption is the next process in which small food molecules and ions move through the wall of the intestine into our blood, absorbing into the blood. Assimilation is a very important process in this. It is defined as the movement of digested food molecules from the blood into our body cells, where they used to become part of cells or they can be utilized for energy, growth, and repair. Digestion is the final process, which is very simple. The food that hasn't been digested or absorbed by our body passes out of the body as feces, which is known as digestion. Now let's move on to the types of digestion which take place in our digestive system. The first type is mechanical digestion. In this takes place in the mouth and the stomach. Let me tell you how. So this starts the digestion process in our body. When we eat the food through our mouth, the food is chopped down into small pieces in the mouth by chewing process, and it is converted to a paste by churning in the stomach. So this is mechanical digestion. First, it takes place in the mouth, where the food is chopped down into small pieces when we chew. Secondly, it takes place in the stomach. The stomach compresses the food and it converts it into a paste by churning. So what is churning? Churning is the wall of the stomach compresses the food into the paste. The purpose of this is to increase surface area for enzyme action. So this is mechanical digestion. The next type of digestion is chemical digestion. So where do chemical digestion takes place? It takes place in the mouth, stomach, as well as the small intestine. Let me tell you how. So firstly, in the mouth, food is ingested, which means we eat food. Chewing starts, which is mechanical digestion. After that, saliva is secreted from our salivary glands in our mouth, and saliva has an enzyme which is known as salivary amylase. This enzyme partially digests starch to maltose. So as digestion is happening using enzymes, it is chemical digestion. Saliva also moistens the food. Now, chemical digestion also takes place in the stomach and small intestine. It involves the breakdown of food molecules using different enzymes, which we will discuss later on in this video. Now let's discuss about the esophagus and how the process starts of digestion after the mechanical and chemical digestion in our mouth. So esophagus is a long muscular tube that carries food from the mouth to the stomach. The other name for our digestive system is also alimentary canal, which stretches from our mouth to the large intestine. So how does the esophagus pushes the food down into the stomach? So basically the muscles of esophagus contract and release to push the food down the stomach. This creates a wave-like movement which is known as peristalsis. So peristalsis is the wave-like movement in the esophagus by the contraction and release of muscles to push food down the esophagus into the stomach. The esophagus also has C-shaped incomplete rings in its shape in order to prevent it from collapsing during exhaling. Now let's move on to the stomach. So the stomach is the next destination in the food digestion process. So stomach is basically a muscular bag where both mechanical and chemical digestion takes place. So first of all, food is mixed with gastric juice which is present in the stomach. After the food is mixed with the gastric juice, it contains the enzyme pepsin. Pepsin is an enzyme, and it also contains hydrochloric acid. Mechanical digestion takes place in the stomach as the walls of stomach compress the food, turning it into the chyme, which is a fine paste. And also chemical digestion takes place as there is enzyme pressing pepsin, which contains which is in the gastric juice. It mixes with the food. So the wall of the stomach compresses the food into the fine paste known as chyme. Gastric juice, where does it come from? So gastric juice is secreted from the walls of the stomach. Only protein is digested in the stomach, and the pH in the stomach is 1 to 2. Pepsin digests the protein into polypeptide in the stomach. So pepsin is the enzyme present in gastric juice which digests protein into polypeptide. The hydrochloric acid provides the optimum pH for pepsin to work, as enzymes need an optimum pH for them to work at their best. So hydrochloric acid provides that optimum pH, which is 1 to 2 for pepsin. Hydrochloric acid also kills all the bacteria present in the food in the stomach, and the wall of the stomach secretes mucus, which prevents it from corrosion by HCl. Now let's move on to the next destination of this digestion process, which is the small intestine. So now after the chyme in the stomach, now it moves into the small intestine. The small intestine has been divided into two parts, duodenum and ileum. Duodenum is a C-shaped curve of the small intestine which is coming from the stomach, and then after the stomach the chyme moves to the duodenum where digestion continues, then the ileum. So now let's discuss in detail what happens in the duodenum and how the food is digested. So as I told you, duodenum is the C-shaped curve after the stomach leading to the small intestine. So in the duodenum, food is mixed with pancreatic juice and bile. Until now we learned one of the juices, important digestive juices, which was gastric juice. Now in the duodenum, the food is mixed with pancreatic juice, which is produced by the pancreas, and bile, which is produced by the liver. So bile, it has a very important function in digestion. First of all, bile neutralizes the chyme. As we know, chyme is very acidic as it is mixed with hydrochloric acid. So bile neutralizes the chyme, and bile is produced by the liver. It is stored in the gallbladder and it is carried to the duodenum in order to mix it with the food through the bile duct, as you can see in this diagram. Bile also emulsifies the fat. This is very important. Emulsification means that the bile breaks down the fat molecules into small fat droplets. The function of this is to increase the surface area for enzyme action. Pancreatic juice is a juice which contains the enzymes pancreatic amylase. This digests starch to maltose. Starch was partially digested in the mouth through salivary amylase. Now it is digested into maltose through pancreatic amylase. Another enzyme in pancreatic juice is lipase. Lipase digests fat to fatty acids, and another enzyme is trypsin, which digests polypeptide to dipeptide. What happens after the duodenum is ileum, and digestion continues and then absorption starts. This will be discussed in detail in the next video. I hope so that you find this video fun and factual. If you did so, then don't forget to like it, subscribe my channel so that you can get further videos, and also share this video with your family and friends. Thanks for watching.